Muscles don't grow in the gym. They grow when you rest. And if you're not recovering properly, you're seriously holding back your gains. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to fix that. When it comes to putting on muscle, recovery has definitely been one of my biggest weaknesses. Sleep is not something that has come naturally with me. I got an Oura ring. More often than not, I'm getting low sleep scores. My average up until probably 2 months ago was a 52. The score goes up to 100. Everyone else I know is getting like 80s or 90s, and I'm probably the worst sleeper that I've met. The other thing is I'm always pushing myself outside my comfort zone. When it comes to entrepreneurship and starting this YouTube channel, I've always been pushing past my limits, putting myself outside my comfort zone. And with that comes a lot of stress. For the first year of lifting, I didn't even know what a deload was. So I wasn't doing any, and I was just pushing myself as hard as I could and was constantly injured because of it. I also worked out way too frequently as a beginner and never got the rest and recovery that my body needed. All these things seriously delayed my muscle growth and caused me to not be as jacked right now as I could be. However, because of this, I also have done a lot of research and a lot of work to fix this problem. Over the years, I've learned a lot about recovery and have improved mine significantly. I'm now getting sleep scores up in the low 80s. And I also learned an insane amount about recovery when I was doing my personal trainer course a few months ago. If you're pushing yourself as hard as you should be in the gym, then from time to time, you're going to need to do a deload. Otherwise, you're going to plateau or you're going to end up getting injured. And in the end up doing more harm than good. So what I like to do when doing a deload is I cut my reps or sets in half, not both, just one or the other. And then I drop the weight to 80% of my working weight. So if I normally bench 200 pounds for 4 sets of 8 reps, then I drop the weight down to 160 pounds around that area, and then do either 4 sets of 4 reps or 2 sets of 8 reps. I typically do one every 4 to 6 weeks, and I will do it for an entire week. Once the deload is over, then I'll return to my regular workout. Before I get into the next point, I want to let you guys know about my free fitness accountability group on Discord. I'll drop the link down in the description for anyone that's interested. I would love to have you there. Sleep is very important when it comes to muscle growth, but these days a lot of people are not getting enough of it, or they're not getting enough high quality sleep. This means that they're not optimizing their muscle growth and are leaving gains on the table. And when you're not getting enough sleep, you're also not being as productive as you can be, meaning that you're leaving money on the table as well. Now, to be completely transparent with you, I've never been a good sleeper. As I said earlier, I have one of these Oura rings, and my average sleep score up until about a couple months ago has been a 52. Considering it goes as high as 100, this is honestly terrible. I think my lowest score ever has been a 28. Now I'm well over 70. In fact, I've been getting sleep scores over 80 lately, and it's all because of these few things that I've been doing. The first is wearing blue light blockers. Screens are terrible for your sleep, and if you think about it, 100, 200 years ago, this was never a problem. But ever since TVs, computers, and cell phones have been invented, it's been something that we have to deal with. And the best way to deal with it is to either shut your screens off before bed, which a lot of people don't want to do, or wear blue light blockers to prevent screens from messing with your melatonin production. A few things when it comes to blue light blockers: you can get clear ones, however, they're not going to be as effective as rose or red tinted ones. Red tinted ones are going to be the most effective, but it also makes watching movies and stuff like that less enjoyable. So what I've gotten is a pair of rose colored glasses. These still allow all the colors to come through, but it blocks the harmful spectrum of blue light that blocks melatonin production. If you're buying a pair, just make sure that they cover the 400 to 450 nm range, as that range is going to be the most harmful when it comes to stopping melatonin production. I typically put these on 2 hours before bed, and by the time I'm ready to go to bed, I'm feeling tired and ready to go to sleep. Another thing that I do is I have my phone screen set up so that when I click the side button 3 times, it turns it completely red. This is going to give you a similar effect as the blue light blockers with the red colored lenses. And if I'm reading before bed, I make sure that's turned on as well, as it further optimizes melatonin production. Another thing that I used to do is take magnesium. Now, the reason why I stopped is I found this supplement from Transparent Labs. This video isn't sponsored by them. I just have found it to be the biggest factor in my sleep scores going up, so I wanted to give it a shout out. It's got magnesium in it still, but it's got a few other ingredients as well that help with sleep. Ever since taking this, my sleep scores have jumped like 15%. Aside from this, I try to get like 10-15 minutes of daylight exposure in the first few hours every morning, as this helps with your circadian rhythm. And lastly, I make sure to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Now, stress can also fuck with your muscle growth a bit. It elevates cortisol levels, and lengthened periods of time where your cortisol is elevated can mess with your testosterone and your recovery. Now, I've been a business owner for the past 5 years now, and with that comes a lot of stress. I also was in a tornado when I was a kid and had to deal with some anxiety after that. So this is something that I've had to manage for years. Now, working out is a game changer when it comes to dealing with stress. I know this has helped me quite a bit. Aside from that, I have realized over the years that a lot of my stress is due to putting a task off. So I've made a rule for myself that anytime there's a task that has been causing me some stress, to do it right away, or at least put it in the calendar so that it gets done soon. I journal every morning, and this helps a lot with stress too. It also helps me plan my day and make sure that the tasks that need to get done are getting priority. Another thing that helps a lot is to do what I'm doing right now and to go for a walk. This helps me unwind my mind and become more focused on the present. ChatGPT is also great to bounce ideas back and forth with and solve problems that are stressing you out. I also like to use it to challenge negative thought patterns that I have and rewire them so I'm thinking in a more accurate way. Now, when most people think of recovery, they usually just think about sitting around and not really doing anything. And honestly, this is a good form of recovery. But another good form of recovery is something called active recovery. Active recovery is great for a few reasons. First of all, it increases blood flow, so it gets nutrients where they need to go fast. This helps aid with recovery. Active recovery also reduces your muscle soreness after a workout. And if you combine it with mobility exercises, it'll help you loosen up as well if you're feeling stiff after a workout. Something that I really like to do for active recovery is go for a walk in nature. I know I mentioned this earlier. It is great for stress. It's also great for getting your blood flowing without putting too much strain on your body. You can also do some dynamic stretching, putting your joints through a full range of motion, making sure the movement is under your control. You can also do some band work with resistance bands. This will help get blood flowing to your muscles. Another great thing you can do is foam roll. This will help loosen those tight muscles, especially a few days after a workout when you're feeling pretty stiff. Just make sure when you do this that it stays light. This is supposed to be recovery. This isn't supposed to be something that puts a whole lot of stress on your body. If you enjoyed this video, it's actually part of a series on the fundamentals of fitness. If you want to check out more videos of this series, then click on this playlist right here. Don't forget to join the Fitness Accountability Group on Discord. I'll drop the link down in the description, and don't forget to subscribe.